Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Toon Relinquished deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck was actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Wesley. And this deck is an amazing deck to be able to play because it combines Pegasus's two signature decks into one amazing 50 card build. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. And definitely give Wesley some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one, guys. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Toon Blackluster Soldier. This card is a definite 3 of in the deck, and has an awesome ability. It cannot be normal summon or set. It must be special summon from your hand by attributing Toon monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal 8 or more. And while you control Toon World and your opponent controls no Toon monster, this card can attack directly. And once per turn, if you control Toon World, you can actually target one card on the field and banish it, but this card cannot attack the turn you activate this effect. This card is an amazing boss monster in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Toon Dark Magician. Toon Dark Magician is an amazing searcher for the build because this card is a really cool ability that you can once per turn discard a Toon card or a copy of Mango Reram and then activate one of these effects to special summon a Toon monster from your deck except another copy of this card, ignoring its summoning conditions, or add a Toon spell or trap card from your deck to your hand, which is a great ability to get to the exact card that you need. We then play just 2 copies of Red Eyes Toon Dragon. This card is just good as a 2 of in the build because it has a really cool ability that once per turn, you can special summon a Toon monster from your hand, except another copy of this card, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is a great ability to be able to special summon out your copy of Toon Blackluster Soldier or Toon Dark Magician. We then play 2 copies of Toon Harpy Lady. Toon Harpy Lady is a great 2 of in the build because this card is an awesome effect that if you control Toon World, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then, if you control another Toon monster, you can destroy a spell or trap card that your opponent controls, which is a great effect for this card to have to be able to pop spells and traps on the field. We then play 3 copies of the Black Stone of Legend. The Black Stone of Legend is why we only play 2 copies of Red Eyes Toon Dragon, because you can tribute this card from your side of the field to be able to special summon a level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster from your deck, essentially special summoning Red Eyes Toon Dragon directly from your deck off of this card's ability, which is really cool about this card. And it helps you just instantly get out Red Eyes Toon Dragon your side of the field. A plus is about all of your different Toon monsters, they can all attack your opponent directly if they don't control a Toon monster, which is so cool about these cards. We then play 3 copies of Relinquished. Relinquished is a really cool boss monster for this build because this card is a great ability that actually lets you target an opponent's monster and equip it to this card, and then it gains attack points equal to the attack points of that monster equipped to this card, which is such a cool ability for this card to have. Fun fact, Relinquished was actually my first card ever. And comment down below what your first Yu-Gi-Oh card ever was. We then play 3 copies of Millennium Eyes Illusionist. Millennium Eyes Illusionist is a really cool 3 of in the build that quick effect, you can discard this card and then target an effect monster that your opponent controls and equip that target to an Eyes Restrict fusion monster or Relinquish that you control as if it was equipped by that monster's effect, which is a great ability to equip it to a copy of Relinquished or one of your Eyes Restrict fusion monsters. It also has the ability of an Eyes Restrict fusion monster or Relinquished is special summon. You can add this card back to your hand, and it's not an optional effect, it's a mandatory effect that you add this card back to your hand from your graveyard. We then play 3 copies of Gameciel. Gameciel is a definite 3 of in the build. You can play any 3 kaijus you want in this position, but it gives you a safe target to be able to eat a card with Relinquished so that you can guarantee that you're going to have a safe target that Relinquished can take for the attack points. This card is a great card to be able to use because just about any of your Toons can go over this card just in case you need to, but it's a really good 3 of in the deck just to deal with your opponent's field, especially since this is a more going second build because Toons really go better second, and Relinquished needs a monster on the field so they can gobble that monster up to be able to gain the attack points. This card is really good in the build and just a great card, and sometimes you just have to tribute over a monster so you can give the opponent the turtle. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start off with a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is really good as a 1-of in the build, so then we can get to our copy of Toon Kingdom. We then play a single copy of Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion is great in this build because it helps us summon out Millennium Eyes Restrict or our copy of Thousand Eyes Restrict, which is great to be able to use this card with those cards. We then play a single copy of Comic Hand. Comic Hand is essentially like Snatch Steal, but for Toons, because if you control Toon World, you can equip this card to an opponent's monster and take control of it, but it's treated as a Toon monster while it's equipped with this card. And if your opponent controls no Toon monsters, it can attack your opponent directly, and a Toon roll is not on the field, destroy this card. We then play 3 copies of Toon Table of Contents. This card is crazy powerful. It lets you add any Toon card you want from your deck to your hand. Simple effect, really amazing card. We then play 3 copies of Toon Bookmark. Toon Bookmark is 3 more searchers for the deck, and is a really cool ability that lets you add a Toon World or card that specifically lists a card Toon World in its text from your deck to your hand, except Toon Bookmark. In a Toon World that you control would be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead to give you a little bit of protection for your copy of Toon World. We then play 3 copies of Toon Page Flip. Toon Page Flip is crazy powerful in this particular build because if you control Toon World, you can reveal 3 Toon monsters with different names in your deck. Your opponent randomly picks one of those cards and you special summon it, ignoring its summoning conditions. Also, you shuffle the rest back in the deck. This card is really good in this particular build because you basically just reveal Blackluster Soldier, Dark Magician, and Red Eyes off this card to be able to special summon one of them directly from your deck, which is amazing to be able to do. We then play 3 copies of Toon Kingdom. Toon Kingdom is our Toon World for the deck. This card is really important because this card counts as Toon World while on the field. And when this card is activated, you banish the top 3 cards of your deck face down. And this card name becomes Toon World while on the field spell zone. Your opponent cannot target Toon monsters that you control with card effects, and if a Toon monster you control would be destroyed by a battle or by card effect, you can banish a card from the top of your deck face down for each of those monsters instead, giving you protection for your Toon monsters, which is super cool. We then play 3 copies of Relinquished Fusion. Relinquished Fusion is how we summon out our copy of Millennium Eyes Restrict. This card is really good in this particular build because it lets you fusion summon an Eyes Restrict fusion monster from your extract by banishing the materials from your hand, field, or graveyard. And during your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard and target an effect monster that your opponent controls, and equip that target to an Eyes Restrict fusion monster or Relinquish that you control as if it was equipped by that monster's effect, which is a great ability to be able to use with this card to basically just guarantee you're going to be able to equip a card. We then play 3 copies of Black Illusion Ritual. Black Illusion Ritual is great because this is how we summon out our copy of Relinquished. This card is the ritual spell that we always use to summon out Relinquished from our hand. We then play 3 copies of Preparation of Rites. Preparation of Rites searches Relinquished directly from our deck to your hand, and if we have a copy of Black Illusion Ritual in the graveyard, you can also add your copy of your Black Illusion Ritual back to your hand, which is a great ability, but you can just activate this card to search out Relinquished. We then play 3 copies of Pre-Preparation of Rites. This card is crazy powerful in the deck because it lets you add a ritual spell from your deck to your hand and then add a ritual monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand whose name is mentioned on the ritual spell, essentially getting your copy of Black Illusion Ritual and Relinquished directly from your deck to your hand, which is great about this card because it instantly sets you up for your Relinquished plays. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing a single trap, and that's going to be 1 copy of Toon Terror. Toon Terror is really good in this build because this card has a counter trap that negates spell trap or monster effects when they're activated while you control both a Toon world and a Toon monster, which is a great ability to have a counter trap in this build just in case you need it. And you're usually always going to control Toon world and a Toon monster just in case we get pushed to go first. This card helps out a lot in the deck. So that's it for the main deck, guys. The main deck is 50 cards if you guys were curious. So let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start off with 2 copies of Millennium Eyes Restrict. This is our main boss monster we're going to be summoning out of the extra deck all the time, and is a great retrain of the old school Thousand Eyes Restrict. This card is great in the build because it has the ability at once per turn when your opponent activates a monster effect. Quick effect, you can target an effect monster your opponent controls or in their graveyard and equip that target to this card that you control. And this card gains attack and defense equal to that monster's the equipped monster's attack and defense points, and also monsters with that equipped monster's name cannot attack. Also, their effects are negated and they cannot activate their effects as well, which is super cool to be able to use to just basically just stop your opponent from using the cards with those names. And it's just a really powerful card overall. This card is a crazy powerful boss monster, and it's super easy to summon because it just requires Relinquished plus an effect monster to make this card, so it's very easy to use in this build. We then play a single copy of Thousand Eyes Restrict. You're usually just making this card with instant fusion so you can eat a card that your opponent has on the field, and it's just a really good card overall. You're never really fusion summoning into this card because we don't play Thousand Eyes Idol in this build, and it's just a great card overall in the deck. We then play a single copy of Cyber / Harpy Lady. This card can be made with 2 copies of Toon Harpy Lady, which is super cool to be able to do with this card. It has the ability for this card synchro summon. You can treat 1 Harpy monster you control as a tuner, and your copies of Toon Harpy Lady count as Harpies, which is super cool to be able to do with this card. This card has a great ability that when a spell or trap card or effect is activated, you can actually quick effect target 1 monster your opponent controls or a Harpy monster you control and return that card back to the hand, giving you a bounce on the field. We then play a single copy of Dark Armed, the Dragon of Annihilation. We do play a lot of level 7s in this build, and this card can pop 2 cards on the field, which is just super cool. This card is one of my favorite, probably my favorite XZ besides Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon, which is such a cool card to go along with our copy of Dark Armed, the Dragon of Annihilation. We then play a single copy of Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. We play this card as a 1-of in the build because this card basically says every time your opponent breathes, they're going to take 500 points of damage. This card is great in the build because for every effect your opponent activates, they take 500 points of damage and can help you close out games, especially since your Toons can attack directly. We then play a single copy of Big Eye to take control of our opponent's monsters. This card is great in the build as a 1-of. 1 copy of Double A Zeus. Double A Zeus is great in the build overall to be able to make on top of any of your XZ monsters so that you can basically just board wipe the field. 1 copy of Access Code. Access Code's great to be able to pop multiple cards on the field. 1 copy of Unicorn to spin stuff. Celine to be able to climb into your copy of Access Code. 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix to pop spells and traps. IP Masquerena to be able to make your copy of Unicorn during the opponent's turn, which is super easy to do in this build. 1 copy of Link Revo because we do play level 1s in the deck, and we play a lot of level 1s in the deck. And then finally, a single copy of Relinquished Anima to round it out. We started with Toons and we ended with Relinquished. This card is great because if it points to a monster, you can basically eat that monster, and then once you do, this card gains attack equal to that monster's attack, which is super cool to be able to do, and you can only equip 1 card to this card. This card is really good in the deck overall. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played Relinquished before, you should definitely give this deck a try. Toon Relinquished is just amazing, and it's just amazing to be able to combine both of Pegasus's signature decks into one insane 50 card build because it's really fun. Like, this deck is actually really fun to be able to play. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.